viewers. Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a pumpkin spice latte cupcake. So these are the ingredients, and here's a closer look at the spices. So we're going to be doing a pull-apart cupcake cake with pumpkin spice latte cupcakes. So you're going to combine your flour, baking soda, and salt in one bowl and set it aside. And then put your softened butter, room temperature butter, in your mixer. Add in your white sugar. And this recipe is a recipe that I got from Yolanda Gamp from How to Cake It, so I'll put a link to her website with the recipes in the description down below. So you add your 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, a 1/4 cup of molasses. Also, this is a very huge recipe, and I did not realize how much it was going to make. So I know for me in the future, I'll probably half this recipe, but it was delicious. Add a cup of brown sugar. Add in all the spices. And mix away. You want to start off on a lower speed. Obviously, I sped this up for you guys until you get some of it incorporated. Otherwise, any kind of flour or anything, or not flour, but the dusty spices and stuff can puff up. So you want to add your eggs one at a time, and you want to add the next one after it's fully incorporated, but just fully incorporated. And there's the last one. This recipe, just these cupcakes came out bomb. I mean, they were so freaking delicious. Holy Moses. So good. You want to scrape down the sides of your bowl when you see that it's not fully incorporating or mixing. I usually do it before the next stages, just to make sure that everything is getting mixed right. So for this next part, we're adding in the flour and the pumpkin, but we're alternating. So the flour mixture, you're going to add in 4 parts. So you start with flour and then pumpkin and then flour and then pumpkin. Don't be afraid to scrape down the sides. Like I said, this recipe is a very large recipe, and I was getting nervous that it wasn't going to mix by the end. And so I ended up, after we added the last bit of flour, I let it mix a little bit, but then I ended up just getting my spatula and mixing in the last of that because it was such a full bowl. The stand mixer wasn't, I mean, the paddle wasn't up high enough, basically, and it's because it's a huge recipe. I would need a bigger bowl. So here I'm just mixing in and making sure it's all incorporated. It smelled so good. Just the batter, before it even baked and everything, it smelled so delicious. So you want to get your cupcake pan with your cupcake liners. I like to spray the top of the pan personally because I've had in the past, like, that cupcake overflowed. Too much batter. It took a minute for me to get the right portion size. Basically missed that cup. A little bit better, but still a little high. And then I started getting the hang of how much to do. Had I had a smaller scoop, this would have probably been easier, but I had to work with what I had, and this is what I had. So this batch of batter made 4 dozen cupcakes plus 1 9-inch round cake. So that's after they're baked. We baked them at 350 for about 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. So once you've got them all the way cooled, I took a spoon and I dipped it in powdered sugar because it is a very dense, sticky cupcake, but it's so moist. But I was having trouble with it sticking to the spoon, which is why I was dipping the spoon in the powdered sugar just to kind of give it that barrier, and it worked pretty well. So once you've got your holes cut out, you can just press down the center a little bit with your finger. Also, if you have a circle cutter that's the right size, I had one that was too small and too big. So again, I had to work with what I had. But just press down the center a little bit, making sure you're not pressing the lid down. This gives us room to fill the cupcakes with the coffee buttercream that we're going to make next. And the coffee buttercream recipe, I looked up a few different coffee buttercream recipes online and kind of made my own version of it. So this one is 1 1/4 cup of soft butter, which is 2 1/2 sticks. And you just want to cream that until it's really light and fluffy in color. And then I added the powdered sugar in it, the sifted powdered sugar, which I always do for any kind of buttercream or any frosting. I just think it makes it smoother. And this was 3 1/2 cups of sifted sifted powdered sugar. So it looks like it's snowing, but it's not. I didn't even realize, but that's powdered sugar dust puffing out of the bowl toward the camera there. But you just want to add your powdered sugar in a little bit at a time to try and tame down the cloud of powdered sugar that will come out of the bowl. Add in your vanilla. And then this is concentrated instant coffee. So what I did for that was 3 tablespoons of instant espresso powder mixed with 1 1/2 tablespoons of boiling water, and then set it aside to let it cool so that it'd be ready. So you want to mix that really good and scrape down your sides again. And then you'll probably have to add some milk to get the consistency what you want it to be at. Just drizzle in a little bit at a time. So there's our coffee buttercream. So put it into a piping bag, which it's easier to fill if you put the piping bag into a cup like that and fold the edge over. This allows you to put in more buttercream, I think, and it's not as messy. So just use your spatula and fill the cup up, and then you can grab that, and then you don't have any buttercream on your hands. So you just hold the top together, squeeze your buttercream down to the tip. And in this case, I didn't use a piping tip. I just let the bag loose with an open hole because I didn't need it to be anything fancy. And then if you twist the bag and hold the twist around in between your thumb, that gives you the most control. So you're just going to lift those little lids of the cupcakes, fill your cupcakes, and put the lid back on. So here I have placed all of the cupcakes in the shape of a Starbucks cup, was what I was going for. In retrospect, I probably would have, if I do this again, I would not make the cup as large. I would make a smaller shaped cup. This thing was massive. It took almost all 4 dozen cupcakes. And also, one thing I learned from the last time I did a pull-apart cupcake cake is there's never enough buttercream. So I made a double batch of buttercream this time. And once again, there wasn't enough buttercream. Once you have your shape picked out and everything, then you're just going to ice the top of it. But it does take copious amounts of buttercream. And this is just a regular buttercream that I have a recipe for that I use for a lot of cakes and stuff that I make. I ended up filling that piping bag 3 times. And as you can see, I didn't get a full thickness that I was looking for, but like I said, ran out of the white buttercream. So here I am adding the green circle to the middle of the cup to represent the Starbucks type situation there. And then you just take an offset spatula and smooth it over. And then, as with any specialty drink, I think, whipped cream on top. So we just did some whipped cream topping up on these top four. I don't know what I was thinking. Connect them. It was a weird triangle shape for a second there. So that is our pull-apart pumpkin spice latte cupcake pull-apart cake in its finality. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. You can find us on Twitter and on Instagram and on Blogger.